What else have we got here? You've thrown me all out. And here's another thing. I've got no light today in the office. Well, because it's a dark and drizzle day. You complain about the snow. We've got the cold and the rain and the clouds and the damp and the muck and the gloom and the mud. And I don't like to turn these big fluorescent lights I got over my broadcast position here on, because normally if I open the curtains, it's a nice sunny day. I can see my notes. There's plenty of light, but now it's gloomy and doomy. But if I turn these glaring lights on, I've heard that if you sit underneath fluorescent lights, it can cause brain damage and memory loss. And I've also heard that if you sit under fluorescent lights, it can cause brain damage and memory loss. So I don't like to do that. But, so I can see this. Where is it? Ah, here we go. Dear Jim and Brian, see, the listeners are including you constantly. With only 2 shows left in 2023, I've been looking into how Dynamite and Collision have fared, filling the arenas Tony hires to host his TV. And if the word hires didn't give you a clue, this is from Chris in Leeds, Yorkshire. They say hire instead of rent over there in that application. So basically, he's compiled these numbers. How close to the venue capacity every Dynamite and Collision came in 2023. Would you like to hear this?
Yeah, I would.
Because there were 77 TV tapings in 2023, Dynamite or Collision, right? Of them, how many do you think drew more than 50% of the hosting arena's actual capacity?
Dynamite and Collision.
Dynamite and Collision.
Because Collision has run some smaller buildings compared to some of these Dynamites we've seen in giant ones, so we're doing an average here. Or we're doing a overall.
Well, no, we're doing numbers in 2020. Now you've confused the issue again. So I thought you were the smart one doing math.
Out of 70-something shows,
77 TV tapings, how many Dynamite and Collision, how many managed to draw more than 50% of the host building's capacity?
6.
2.
Wow.
2. The January 11th Dynamite in the Kia Forum, which was the match 7 in the Trios title Best of 7 series that the Buckaroos, when they made their 6-man belts for themselves and their friends, right? They hit 65% of the Kia Forum. And the June 26th Dynamite where is the Wintrust Arena? I recognize the name of the arena, and I'm trying to remember where it was.
Wintrust Arena is in Chicago.
Aha! Well, on June 26th, they had an advertised appearance by CM Punk and hit 59%. And otherwise, would you like to know the lowest capacity? The lowest percentage of the hosting arena that they filled of the year 2023.
So if they had like a 20,000 seat building and they had like 900 people there.
Yeah. What is the lowest percentage of capacity that they filled for an arena of the year?
I don't have any way to guess. I don't know.
September 13th, Dynamite in the Heritage Bank Center, John Moxley's hometown show in Cincinnati. 14% of the total real capacity of the arena. 29 of the 77 shows, 38%, sold less than a quarter of the venue's capacity. And one final statistic, they had 2 shows in the Kia Forum. Both of them were advertised as Young Bucks hometown shows. And it went from the January 11th 65% to the November 27% in the same building.
Yeah, why do you think they went home with their tail between their legs? They know that they don't even have the fan base anymore.
But yeah, and thank you for coming, Plumber Mox. Les Thatcher could have been advertised on the card and drawn more than 14% of the building in Cincinnati.
If you had run smaller buildings but packed them, it would have had more energy. It would have looked, even though it was smaller, it would have looked better just because of the packed room and the energy. Instead of these giant rooms where everyone's smushed on one side of the camera and you could tell the house is empty. If they had just run smaller buildings from the get-go, realistic size buildings, it would have...
We're not talking about, a rec center somewhere.
No, I'm not talking about a rec center.
But we're talking about the 6,500 seat buildings or where you can find them anymore, but there are new ones that there didn't used to be. But they still go to the NBA building in every town.
Yeah.
Or what,
For what makes no sense, for what is something that maybe one day someone will explain the philosophy behind, but why did they do that for so long? And we'll see what changes now going forward.
Well, yeah, because they're going to have new people in charge of all these things since about 5 of their VPs have departed for parts unknown, right?
Well, this is the second term of Tony's presidency. So now usually the second term, a lot of people leave and they fill in new people into the ranks.
Hey, I don't think that, except for Tony Khan, I don't think we've had that much problem with vice presidents and Spiro Agnew, have we?
I don't know about that. No, I guess not.
It's starting to look rough. But